What Martin Luther King Stood For by Alexandra Karalis. I was attending Miss Cox's second grade class at the James Russell Lowell School when I was first introduced to bullying. Springtime was approaching, which meant we could finally go out for recess after being cooped up in the classroom playing board games and drawing all winter long. One day, after lunch, the lunch monitors called all the second graders to line up at the door for recess. My friends and I waited where the lunch monitors stood to line up. There were two doors located in the cafeteria, one in the front where you enter the cafeteria and one of the back in the cafeteria that had a giant exit sign above. The lunch monitor told us to quiet down, then pushed the door open to go outside. All the kids began to run outside. The field was in front of the school for all to see. On the far left were two large trees that gave out shade on a warm spring day. On the opposite side, where the second tree was located, was also a playground with a slide, monkey bars, swings, and a play structure where my friends and I were playing. We all have been friends since we were in pre-K. We were all having a good time and laughing until one of the girls that was not a part of our friend group came over and told one of my friends to go with her and hang out under one of the trees. My friend ended up leaving to follow her. My friends and I were wondering why she called her over. We all looked toward the tree and noticed that they were both hiding behind the tree so that we couldn't see them. My friends and I were all wondering what they were doing or saying behind our backs. Then finally my friend came over. I asked my friend what the girl had said to her. She took me and my other friend aside and said, "Alex, she called you big," and then pointed to my other friend and said something just as awful about her. I was embarrassed. How could someone I didn't even know or talk to be so cruel and say such hurtful things to classmates? Then to call one of my best friends something just as horrible? By the time recess was over and I was on my way inside the school, I started to cry. It really hurt my feelings. We all got into the school and rushed into our classrooms. My homeroom teacher saw that my face was bright red and that my eyes were watering. When everyone got into their seats and started their work, she called me over to the back of the room and asked me what was wrong. I told her that someone called me something very hurtful. I also told her what she called my friend as well. She told me that everything would be okay and not to listen to her because it's not true. Soon after, she told me to go back to my seat and not to worry about it. I listened to my teacher and went back to my seat. I watched my teacher walk to the classroom phone, and I assumed she called the guidance counselor because soon after, my friend and I were called down to her office. The guidance counselor informed us that she will handle this matter and there are consequences for bullying and name-calling to other students. The consequences that the bully faced was 1 day of school suspension. My own personal story follows what Martin Luther King stood for. Racism is bullying. Just because people don't meet your standards doesn't mean you get to call them out or say awful things about them. Martin Luther King stood up for what he believed in, which was equal rights to nonviolence and to stop racism, including bullying. In Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, he talks about how he wants kids to grow up in a free world. He says, "I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." And this quote shows what many people go through every day. Don't judge people by what they look like or for the color of their skin. You judge them on their personality and how they treat you. It doesn't matter what you look like or what race you are, but how you treat people. When you meet a new person, they won't remember what you looked like, but they'll remember how nice you were and how good you treated them.